No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Welcome on into a live edition of Bronco Nation News here at BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains. We got Mike Prater here for a Wednesday edition. Mike, I got a different mic than usual, so hopefully you can hear me okay, and it sounds all right and looks all right, and we're ready to roll on a Wednesday here.
Sounds good. Looks good. Let's make it happen. So, yeah, everything sounds good. Let's do it, my friend.
No practice today. 2 days was enough. They need to give the media a day off, I guess, here, Mike Prater. But
yes.
No practice today after 2 days on the practice field. So we get a chance to kind of catch our breath, dissect the first 2 days, and then move forward tomorrow, as they'll be in shells, I think, for the first time tomorrow. They've just had the helmets and spiders, they call them, the first couple of days. But again, been a fun first couple of days. We're excited to discuss practice. We're going to discuss I don't know if enlightening is the right word, intriguing. There was some interesting interviews yesterday with both Chris Marshall and Braxton Fely. Both those guys in their own way had some very, powerful things that they said and things that we obviously latched onto, Mike. And I thought both those were just tremendously honest interviews from both guys, and looking forward to discussing both of those with you guys. I know you did on your show yesterday with Johnny, but we've talked to the captains. We've talked to a couple of guys that have, intriguing outlooks for the year, and we've watched 2 practices. So all in all, through 2 days, it's been a pretty full, busy, eventful, and I'd say fun couple of days.
I think the first 2 days of practice have been very eventful, and usually it kind of leaks out, and there's really not a lot. It kind of rolls out slowly, and there's not a lot of stuff going on. But we've seen a lot of players with storylines. We've seen a lot of players with momentum. A lot of players have really stood out. And then you're fantastically right about yesterday. That was a really cool experience. Sometimes these interviews get really monotonous, and I know it's only 2 days into camp, and maybe by the third week of August it's going to be more monotonous. But what 2 spectacular interviews yesterday with amazing storylines, compelling storylines, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. I was shocked with what Braxton Fely said, and then Chris Marshall showing up, pretty much a different dude than he was the last time he addressed the media. So you can see the personal growth in both these dudes, and it's really cool to see. So it's been a great 2 days. glad we got a day off today. The old fat media guys need a day off, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow.
All right, Mike, two practices in, and we'll get to the interviews and the sound bites and hear from those guys and discuss that here in a little bit. But, we're kind of the eyes and ears right now for this fan base that are not able to be at practice. We've had 2 days of practice that we've been able to watch from literally start to finish. We're not able to kind of report on some of the team periods or the depth chart type stuff, but we've been able to watch every snap that's been taken the first 2 days of practice, every play that's been run, every drill that's been run. We have been there. Johnny's been there. The whole BNN team with Nathan and Chris and everybody in the media has been there from start to finish. So I want to dive into some individual players that have really stuck out to me. And Chris Marshall is one of those guys. He has had 2 amazing days at practice to this point, and really is, when you see what he does on the field and then hear him talk, it is hard. I mean, when that interview ended, I said, damn, it's hard not to buy into the hype. It really is, in terms of what Chris Marshall could do this year. So he's one of the guys for me that we'll talk about. But in general, just general observations, 2 days in, folks can go read your thoughts at BroncoNationNews.com as well. We had a blog post up there with all of our kind of thoughts from the first couple of days. But just your general takeaway is 2 days in.
Well, the big one, obviously, is Sire Gaines. Still hasn't been seen after 2 days. Didn't show up for the first hour of practice on Monday, didn't show up for the first hour of practice on Tuesday. Then you can see him there standing on the sidelines in just his shorts and a jersey top, not actively participating in anything. Spencer Danielson, as we all know, last week said 100% ready to roll on Monday morning, and there he was not. Again, it's really, really difficult to I don't want to say trust Spencer Danielson when it comes to Sire Gaines. I don't think he duped anybody last week when he said he was ready, but maybe Sire Gaines is I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this is going to turn out. Boise State's got some nice running back options. They don't have to have Sire Gaines. Could they use him? Absolutely. Is he the best running back on this team when he's healthy? I think so. We based that all off on one game as a backup running back against Georgia Southern, where he was spectacular. And after that, it was kind of just, it's been 11 months of waiting and kind of getting tired of waiting for the Sire Gaines show to explode. But it's early. It's still July. We have to remind ourselves it's not August 1st until Friday. So it's early. The media can be impatient sometimes. But Sire Gaines definitely has been the biggest issue for me. There is no way that Sire Gaines comes out. At this point, I have a hard time believing that Sire Gaines comes out and plays 11, 12, 13, 14 productive games. And this thing is just easy breezy. I think we're on for a roller coaster ride with Sire Gaines.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. But, and I know it was unrelated, and I know it was just something that just, we can only go off of what we can go off of, Mike Prater, and he's yet been, it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and maybe tomorrow's the day after the off day. We'll certainly see. But to this point, you're right. I mean, Sire Gaines has not been able to stay out there, has not been able to stay healthy, and every time we hear he's coming back, he isn't. And so that was a big bummer. 30 seconds into the practice, Johnny nudging me in on the first day and saying, "Hey, no Sire Gaines again." I'm like, "Really? Again?" Like, well, come on. And so, a lot of talent, a lot of excitement around him, but at some point he's got to prove that he can stay on the field here. But I will say, with that said, Malik Sherrod picked up right where he left off in spring camp, Mike Prater. He's been one of the most impressive players for me.
100%. And that's part of the Sire Gaines problem. When Sire Gaines does come back, and no matter when that is, Boise State's back on the field tomorrow. We'll keep a close eye. When he does come back, it's not like he's going to go out there and look like Malik Sherrod already. They're going to ease him in. If his body is this fragile and he's still dealing with some soft tissue issues, there's no way that they're going to march him out there. So think about this. He's already missed the first 2 days of camp. They're going to have to acclimate him into about a week worth of camp once he gets on the field. So at best, he's going to miss the first 10 days of camp in terms of just the momentum, in terms of doing the things that Malik Sherrod has been doing. And Malik Sherrod has been impressive, and you're 1,000% right. He blew us away in the spring, and then he shows up on Monday, and he's still the fastest, shiftiest guy on this football team. He's spectacular. He looks good. He looks like he could play football right now on November 1st. Sire Gaines does not look like that, and Sire Gaines is going to be a process. So I know Johnny's going to be excited when Sire Gaines shows up and takes a carry in the football in a football practice on Thursday or Friday or next week or whenever it is. But think about it more of a week-long process to get him acclimated. Heck, maybe he even needs 10 days. So at best, the first third of fall camp is not a good start for Sire Gaines.
By the way, with Johnny, I know he had tweaked his hammy or something at that media pro day. I think he re-injured it running to tell us all that Sire Gaines was out that first day. He was he was loving to kind of let everybody know that. When I hadn't even gotten through the gate of the practice field yet, and I was getting cut off by Johnny to let me know that Sire Gaines wasn't out there.
He's an excitable boy. That's why we love hanging out with Johnny. He gets us all that energy, and it's all pretty cool. And I know he's pretty excited for Chris Marshall. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but I get it. It's a big story. Sire's a big story. I don't want to overreact. We don't want to overreact, but it's been 11 months now, guys. It's been 11 months, and I think the media has been very, very patient.
And I will say this about Breezy Dubar. I mean, there are things we can and can't say, Mike Prater, and there's a line. We try to be honest with folks and not, lie to people when we know something, but we also have to – there's a line about, what we can say and can't say in terms of stuff at practice. And I'll just say if you saw some videos from the first day, Breezy Dubar may have been out there. And if you saw some videos from the second day, the individual portions of periods that, the media was allowed to shoot, we did not see Breezy Dubar during the individual open portion periods of practice number 2. So take that for what it's worth, and that's basically all we can say about it. But in the individual periods we were allowed to watch on Tuesday, Breezy Dubar was not out there. So when you talk about Sire Gaines not being out there and Breezy Dubar not being out there, I know they're confident in these guys, in the short-term stuff or whatever for the absences, but 2 of your main 4 being out, not practicing the first couple of days, not ideal.
One of the big storylines of the summer, we did it here at Idaho Sports Talk. You did it there at BNN. Was the depth and the individuals and the talent in the Boise State running back room. There are 6 running backs on Boise State's roster right now. First of all, that's pretty thin numbers. Only 6 of them. Now, one of them is new, the Greg Ard kid out of Texas. One of them is the Knott kid is a defensive, a converted guy, so he doesn't really count. So that leaves you 4, the main 4, the big 4: Gaines, Sherrod, Dubar, and Riley. As you just said, 2 of those have been active in fall camp so far. 2 of them have been very active in fall camp so far. So Boise State's running back room right now of 6 running backs literally is down to 2. What we thought was a strength a month ago, all of a sudden is a major concern. That doesn't mean it can't be fixed overnight. That doesn't mean things can't change quickly. But right now, one of the strengths of this football team, the depth in the running back room, we're down to 2, and the season hasn't even started yet. We haven't even seen August 1st yet, and there's already running back concerns.
And we'll get to some of the, guys that maybe further down the depth chart that have impressed us, or guys that maybe aren't the obvious candidates. But I do think we need to briefly touch on Maddox Madsen here, Mike, because he's a guy that through 2 practices, I said something, and then you looked at me and said, I said, hey man, he's been super impressive. And you said, I don't even know if a ball dropped, on the ground the first couple of days. I know we probably expect it. I mean, Maddox even said it was a lot of shorter throws, red zone type stuff. It wasn't like they were airing it out on day 1 or 2. So maybe there wasn't the opportunity, but for what they asked him to do the first 2 days, I mean, he was super impressive. I thought Maddox Madsen, for what it was for the first 2 days, you'd much rather be this way than the other way. I was very impressed with Maddox Madsen. His the touch on his throws, some of the windows he was throwing to, just the command that he has of this offense. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and win the Davey O'Brien or the Heisman or whatever, but he certainly looks like he's ready to be a quarterback of a team that could go to the playoff. And for all the people that have wanted to get on him the last couple of years, and for the last couple of years of him being a guy that was, they basically tried to have somebody else get the job the last couple of years, and he continued to kind of beat these guys out. Knowing there's no competition, knowing he's the guy, knowing this is his team, he just has this swagger and this confidence about him. And I thought the first 2 practices he played tremendous. And, I already thought he was a solid quarterback. I wasn't worried about him. But I think if you're a fan, media, whatever, and you watch those first 2 days, it's hard not to get excited about what you have in Maddox Madsen going into the year.
Camp momentum is very, very important. And that's one reason why we have some concerns about Sire Gaines. And it's one reason why we're kind of blown away by what Maddox Madsen has done. He's looked smooth, and we expected him to look smooth, but I think he's taken it to another level that I certainly didn't expect in terms of the efficiency. I've only seen him throw 2 long balls in practice, both of them yesterday, and neither one of them converted. So the long ball experiment from the summer, I think they're still going to work on that, because you're right. The first couple of days were a lot of short passes, a lot of drills, but he looked spectacular. The ball hit the ground once on Monday. There was a collision in a red zone drill between a defensive back and a wide receiver, and the ball popped up and hit the ground. I don't think it touched the ground ever again. A little bit lost so much yesterday. I think I saw a couple of them hit the ground, and and the defense kind of picked it up again yesterday after a slow start on Wednesday or on Monday. But Maddox Madsen has been smooth. Here's one of my biggest takeaways from Maddox Madsen, and I don't know what to think about it. Last year, when it was Maddox Madsen and Malachi Nelson, we made so much about Malachi Nelson. I don't want to say moping, but he had a body language to him early on in camp, the first couple of days of camp. And when things went wrong, he kind of put his face in the sky and kind of took a deep breath and put his hands on his hip, and you could just see the body language. Meanwhile, Maddox Madsen was walking around, slapping butts, talking to teammates, rah stuff. Maddox Madsen, to me, has not been the rah leader the first 2 days of camp. I don't see him walking around slapping butts. I don't see him walking around talking to teammates. A little bit of that, but it's more business for me. It's more serious. It's more leadership kind of stuff. And the efficiency of way he's throwing the ball is different as well. So I think he's acting different when he doesn't have the ball in his hand, and he's certainly throwing the ball and taking care of the ball better than he ever has. So I think it's a good maturation process for Maddox Madsen. I think he looks fantastic.
BSU Bill saying Zach Hill giving nearly all of his attention on Madsen is going to pay major dividends. Blake M saying if he takes the leap he did last year compared to his freshman year, at the least, he'll be really good. And it is what it is, Mike. It's 2 days of practice. They're not even in pads. There's no pass rush. We're not trying to hype him up too much, but you'd much rather him have the 2 days he had than say, oh, he had 3 interceptions the first 2 days and didn't look great. So for what it was, I was very impressed.
I spent way too much time the last 2 days thinking about Zach Hill. And if you think about this, guys, the quarterback room is the smallest on this team. There's only four quarterbacks on this room. They have one dedicated coach. Zach Hill doesn't have to worry about the offense. He doesn't have to worry about play calling. He doesn't even have to worry about recruiting. Zach Hill has one job: make 4 quarterbacks better. And the interaction between Zach Hill and the Boise State's quarterbacks the first 2 days of practice was amazing. He was with them the entire time. He was teaching every 9 seconds, and it was one-on-one individual teaching drills. And he was the only guy. There's other players and other coaches out there that have a lot of things to do. Zach Hill's focus is literally on 4 dudes, technically 1 dude, and he's coaching every 9 seconds to this group. I think the dividends are amazing. I think the fact that he doesn't recruit, I don't think the fact that he doesn't call plays, offensive coordinator, he's got one dedicated job, and I think that's going to make a massive difference for Maddox Madsen this season.
All right, we're going to continue to talk about some of our players that have impressed us so far and hear from a couple of players as well coming up momentarily. But first, a quick timeout. We're back in 15 seconds.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Hey, rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. Shout out Andy Rowe and Company. I was talking to Andy Mike. He wants to, we're going to bring him back on for his weekly visits during the season here. He was bringing some great knowledge, and he enjoyed coming on and wants to do that again. So during football season, we'll have Andy Rowe popping back on throughout the season. ROEpaint.com, all your painting needs, those concrete coatings, interior, exterior paintings. Make sure you hit him up at rowpaint.com. Hey, TacoBellWorks.com, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. TacoBellWorks.com. We're going to get out there for a broadcast. I figured Johnny was the one that would want the free meal at Taco Bell, so we'll get a Taco Bell broadcast going before an upcoming practice here, I think in the next week or so, and looking forward to getting to that Broadway location on Taco Bell. But they're hiring, so head on into any local Treasure Valley Taco Bell location. The food is darn good as well, and you can get more information on the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, online at TacoBellWorks.com. Hey, some new news coming. I don't know if you saw this or not, Prater, but some new NIL deals. Idaho Central Credit Union is now on board with Learfield, and Boise State is an official sponsor again, so they're back in the fold. You're going to be seeing the ICCU logo around Albertson Stadium, around Extra Mile Arena. That's great news, and they've signed some NIL deals with Maddox Madsen, with Cage Casey, with some other athletes, and we're going to tell you more about it, but congrats to ICCU getting on board back with Boise State, and that's great news for the community, great news for Boise State. So ICCU, they stepped up with Tyson Degenhart. Now they're taking it to a new level, and we'll have some updated graphics and things here to tell you more about it moving forward. But ICCU, check them out at ICCU.com. Hey, Roaring Springs, we're going to be getting our kids out there once more before school gets going. Jackson's and Extra Mile is the place to go. If you just purchase 2 Coca-Cola products, you can get an $8 voucher at Jackson's. You can use that up to 4 times. That's $32 in savings when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products at Jackson's or Extra Mile. So save up to $32 if you want to get out to Roaring Springs before the year ends, and that's from Jackson's or Extra Mile and Coca-Cola. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. Check them out, thespateam.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, whether it's a pool table, a hot tub, a sauna, they got you covered. They're part of the Boise State home team. They've been around since 1978. You can check them out at Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, thespateam.com. Prater, you may be, if we're taking, Johnny to Taco Bell, you may be the one that gets the short end of the stick to do the next store there at the Hall of Fame at the Blue and Orange store. We're going to have a broadcast there in the Hall of Fame before practice coming up next week. The Blue and Orange store. Travis Hawks wants to join us on the show as well, and we'll be doing it right there from the new location there at the Hall of Fame, the Blue and Orange store. I don't know if you've peeked in there yet or not, Mike Prater, but tremendous use of the space, and I know they're going to keep adding to it. But next time you're at the Hall of Fame, if you're down by Boise State, check out the Blue and Orange store, the all-new Blue and Orange store location inside the Boise State Hall of Fame. It's open during normal hours of the Hall of Fame there, and it's going to be a great spot on game day to check out as well. So they keep adding stuff to it every day. They have some big plans there, and again, we'll do a broadcast in the next week or two from the Blue and Orange store and tell you more about it and show you more about it. But the Blue and Orange store, online at theblueandorangestore.com, and that is a pretty cool spot, Mike, and I know that they're adding to it, and that's a good use of the space and pretty cool to get the Blue and Orange store involved there and see it up and rolling, and sales are going now.
Yeah, I did pop in the other day and checked it out, and it is kind of weird. It is kind of cool, and I love this concept. I think it's really, really smart, and I think it's fan-friendly. It's going to be really, really cool when you see that, and I can't imagine what that line's going to look like. So a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, business decisions, but to me, it comes down to just the ease of use for fans and how convenient is that. So love that relationship with Travis and the gang down there, and I popped in, and I thought it was really, really cool. So can't wait to see how that works out on game days.
Speaking of sponsors, love to see this as well. Row Paint recently did my garage floor and painted everything. They did an amazing job. Glad to see they're sponsoring this show. So we always appreciate you guys for supporting the sponsors. And I'm not surprised, Mike Prater, that happy customer from rowpaint.com.
I love it. I love it. I love everything that they do. So I still walk by our blue turf wall here at KTIK every single morning and thank rowpaint.com for doing that. So we converted an entire wall into a blue turf field with lines and stripes and 5-yard lines and end zones and everything like that. And it was all Row Paint. And I think about them every day. They can do fun stuff. They can do important stuff. They can do detailed stuff. And it's really, really cool to see what those guys are doing.
Yep, BSU Bill saying ditto. I've had 2 Row Paint jobs done. Their work is top-notch. So not surprised at all. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor, ROEpaint.com. There would be no Bronco Nation news without Rowpaint.com. They've done some stuff at our old house. They came out and patched up some drywall and repainted our ceiling here at the new house. And it's awesome stuff, and we appreciate our title sponsor. And I know, like I said, Andy's going to be joining us during the football season, so looking forward to that. But just a great dude. Get out there, support the sponsors, folks. Andy Rowe and Rowpaint.com. All right, Mike, some other standouts. I want to mention Demetric Whitlock Jr., the junior college wide receiver, number 17, has stood out. Quentin Brown, number 25, another wide receiver that's, a smaller, shiftier, speedy guy, but he's made a couple of really nice plays and stood out as well. There's been a lot of guys that have really stood out and impressed. Those were 2 I really want to mention. On the defensive side, Jaden Mickey, he had an interception yesterday as well and has done some nice things, but where else are you going in terms of names of players? I mentioned Chris Marshall's been a big one. Malachi Williams, the Idaho transfer, has done some nice things that I've seen on the defensive line there as well. And I want to shout out number 83, Quamante Williams Jr., 6'5", true freshman as well. He made a couple nice catches and was getting held on a play yesterday and still caught it and made his way into the end zone. So I would say, I know it's early, Mike, but the receiver position had a lot of question marks for a lot of us, and that's been one of the, and again, it's a lot of one-on-one drills and 7-on-7 and stuff where the receiver probably has the advantage. But I've been pleasantly surprised with some of these newcomers at receiver.
7 old wide receivers, 7 new wide receivers, brand new wide receivers, like guys that just joined the team in June. And it's really cool to see this mixture of old versus new. 14 wide receivers on this team, and it's literally divided right down the middle between old and new. Caples has been very, very busy. Marshall has been very, very impressive. After that, Bates, Penry, some of those other guys, Ford, I know Ford's been busy, but, just he's out there running around. But I'm so glad that you mentioned Demetric Whitlock Jr., number 17. He was the first new player for me that stood out on Monday just because he was busy, just because he was active. And over the first 2 days of practice, you definitely mentioned the 3 wide receivers that have stood out, Whitlock, Brown, and Williams. One of them is a junior college kid. The other 2 are freshmen straight from the state of Texas. And it's really cool to see these guys not only being involved, literally, they've been with the football team, 8 weeks now? And they're active. They're in rotations. And I'm not sure if it's rotation 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is, but they're busy in the rotation room with the wide receivers. So I think it's really, really cool. There's going to be at least 2 or 3 of these guys that are going to stand out, the new guys, and then you mix them in with the guys like Capel and Marshall, maybe Bates, Penry, and Ford. I think the wide receiver room, it's really weird because last year it was all about Ashton Genty. Right now I have some concerns about the running back room and the feelings that I get, which are often very, very wrong, that the wide receiver room is impressive. The passing game is impressive. The quarterback is impressive. BJ, are we looking at a pass-heavy football team this fall? I'm not sure yet, but right now it kind of looks like it.
Yeah, I certainly, feel maybe better. Again, it's 2 days. You try to keep it in perspective, but 2 days in, you feel a little better about the Maddox-Madsen wide receiver combo than you did probably this time before practice on Monday.
100%, 100. And the difference between this and last year, 1,000%. So it's really, really cool to see them take that next step when it comes to the passing game.
I mentioned Chris Marshall. He spoke with the media. We'll touch on him first while we're talking wide receivers here, Mike Prater. And he was a guy that I had a chance last year, and the story, unfortunately, is probably gone because we've updated the site, and I've got to find a way to get that back out there. But I had a 20-minute sit-down interview with Chris Marshall last year, one-on-one, and really dove into his past and the problems he had. And I talked to his mom a couple different times for the story, and they're just a family background and him ending up at Boise State, and just really dove into his past and wrote that article during fall camp last year about this being his last chance to try to make a difference and overcome some things and get out there. And obviously that didn't happen with the injuries. I mean, he's got a son, he's got a lot, behind the scenes going on that nobody knows about. And he couldn't stay on the field last year. He was injured. Talking to his mom, just had her, just exactly said the right things, was happy for him to be in Boise, was trusting Spencer Danielson and it just felt like everything was going to click last year for him. And then he got injured and just couldn't make it happen. Some people thought, okay, he's not going to stick around. He's out of here, whatever. He sticks around. And not only does he stick around, there's all we hear all off season is how good of a place he is. He's working out great. He's, all this stuff. And then literally, we see Phil Steele put him 3rd team preseason All Mountain West. And you're like, okay, that's for a guy that had 3 catches for 13 yards last year. That's, these expectations are getting pretty high, but 2 days in, I'm not sure he's dropped the ball. I'm not sure anyone's been able to stop him in the red zone or the one-on-one drills. And we'll hear from him in a second, but his not only is he producing on the field, he's saying all the right things. When his interview ended yesterday, I basically said, okay, it's hard not to buy into what he's saying. This could be a 1,000-yard type season if he stays healthy. And I know we're jumping the gun a bit, but he's got talent. He seems to be in the right mindset. And if he can stay on the field and stay healthy, it really, I know it's a cliche, but it really does seem like the sky is the limit for a guy like Chris Marshall.
Yeah, very well said. And that is the story of Chris Marshall right now. And that interview yesterday changed everything in terms of our perception. And like you said, we'll get to that here in a second, some of the sound. He's done a great job there. But I do want to, and I hate to be the skeptical, Debbie Downer type guy, but go back to camp last year, guys. The first 10 days of camp was the eye-opener for Chris Marshall. Everybody loved Chris Marshall because of the plays he was making in the first 10 days of camp last year. So when it comes to the football side of it, when it comes to him on the practice field, when it comes to what we're seeing Monday morning at 9:00 when they're out there in camp, I don't think much has changed. Chris Marshall was a hell of a wide receiver a year ago, and Chris Marshall is still a physically intimidating, great-looking wide receiver today. So physically as a football player, I'm not sure much has changed because we were having these exact same conversations. Last year, Johnny was willing to put Chris Marshall in the NFL after 5 practices just because he looks so damn good in practice. And he looks so damn good in practice right now. So the football side, I'm not going to get too carried away about. He's still the same. That interview yesterday, though, the perception, the growth, we talked to him. We've never had a chance to do a one-on-one, but we had a group interview with him in the spring. I think it was about 10, 12, 13, 14 minutes last year. We didn't use a single soundbite because it was terrible. He just wasn't confident. He was nervous. He didn't really have much to say. You could still see some of that yesterday, but you could tell he was different. We used a lot of his sound yesterday on our show on Idaho Sports Talk, and what he was saying, how he was saying it, how he was presenting it, how he was interacting with the media. Mentally, he's in a much, much better place. And you're right. If he can stay healthy, this guy's going to be a dangerous weapon.
Hopefully you are subscribing to Bronco Nation News on YouTube. It's free. It's easy. Just hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom of the screen because we post the full raw audio of these interviews. So I know you guys on the radio have some of the clips and things, and you guys play a lot of it as well on KTIK. So make sure you're watching or listening to their show. But we post the full 12 minutes of all these interviews. So you can just hear the questions, see the video, and see the things from start to finish to really try to get a good gauge of what these guys are saying and talking. So here's just one 20-second soundbite. I just picked out one random one here, Mike. But Chris Marshall on the excitement, the motivation, I guess, for this season.
Very motivated, self-motivated. Don't need any motivation from anyone. I'm motivated as it can be. Ready too.
We watch him practice, make some of those plays. Like, man, if this guy played 50 snaps a game, the numbers he could put up would be crazy. I mean, is that how you feel? Like, if you can just stay on the field, that you think you could have a monster year here?
Yes, sir. I will have a monster year just by being on the field, and I'll be on the field. You'll see me a lot this year.
Chris Marshall, I will have a monster year as long as I can stay on the field. Nobody else needs to motivate me. I'm motivated myself. Again, he's saying the right stuff now. And again, it all comes down to, okay, is he out there at practice on Thursday? Is he there Friday? Is he there Saturday? And that, 2 weeks from now, is he out there? That's going to be the big sign for us with Chris Marshall. But he does seem like he's a guy that's motivated. And he said at another point in the interview, I feel like when I'm on the field, there's nobody that can stop me. We've yet to see somebody stop him through 2 practices. Maybe that says more about the DBs. I don't know. But Chris Marshall, I really would love to see him stay. I mean, I know we can't say depth chart stuff, Mike Prater, but look around and see who else is back. He's one of the more returning guys. He's getting a lot of reps in the videos with Maddox Madsen. I'll just say that. If he's healthy, he's going to be out there a lot. And if Maddox Madsen, like I said, or if, like I said in the question there, if he gets 50 plus snaps or whatever it is, if he's out there for the majority of the plays on offense, it really is hard to not get excited about the numbers he could put up.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And he was so cool to talk to yesterday and so cool to see up close without his uniform on. And, he's done a great job of taking care of his body. He looks good. He looks the NFL part. He's got great size and strength and all that kind of stuff. And when you and me and Johnny were standing there with that one-on-one red zone drill yesterday where Maddox was throwing the ball to wide receivers in one-on-one coverage, kind of going to the pylon, he was the only guy that had 100% success rate. And the way he uses his body, the way he uses his size, and just creates that separation. Go back to last year, guys, and one of the biggest issues of this football team last year was the wide receiver room, not so much on game days, but on Monday through Friday. And coaches like Cutter and Danielson kept talking about, and maybe even Matt Miller kept talking about practice habits. And they called out the wide receivers for poor practice habits. They called out the wide receivers for lack of creating separation in practice and bringing those good habits into game days on Saturdays. And there was really inconsistent results with that. Thank goodness they had Ashton Genty to cover up that issue. I'm not sure that that's going to be the case this year. I think it's going to be a little bit different in terms of that. Chris Marshall, the separation that he had in those drills, just give me 3 inches. And all of a sudden he's got the ball in his hands. And a guy like Jeremiah Irby's going, what the hell just happened there? Great playmaker. And if Chris Marshall, again, he can stay healthy in camp because last year he stayed healthy in camp. He didn't get hurt until the Oregon game. And that's when things got really, really squirrely. We have to wait for the first sign of trouble for Chris Marshall to see how he handles that, whether it's injuries, whether it's a bad game, whether it's Maddox Madsen not getting him the ball. And Maddox Madsen admitted that was an issue last year, that he was whining too much when he didn't get the ball. I think it's all kind of kumbaya right now, but let's wait for that one moment and see how Chris Marshall reacts there.
BSU Bill saying the fact he was made available this early in fall camp to speak to the media means he's doing the right stuff behind the scenes to back up the talk he said yesterday. I would say it's a little different era with Spencer Danielson. They're not quite as protective on some of these guys as maybe Avalos or Harsin was in terms of getting out there. If he wasn't a guy they were counting on or expecting to play, I don't think they would have thrown him out there on day 2. Chris Marshall and Kobe Young, red zone jump balls with Louder in the mix could be lethal. I've gotten a lot of questions about Kobe Young, Prater, and I'll kind of say what I said about Breezy. The open portion of periods to the practice through 2 days, we have not seen Kobe Young out there. So we'll just say that for what it is. And was really excited, looking forward to seeing Kobe Young on the practice field, and hopefully we'll see that soon. But you see him standing there on the sidelines even at 6'7", And I shouldn't say he wasn't there. He just wasn't practicing. He wasn't participating in practice. But he's a big guy, too, at 6'7", that certainly I think is, if he can get out there, we're excited to see what he can do. All right, let's talk Braxton Fely here in a second. Very interesting give and take with Braxton, a very honest conversation, but it has some people a little, I don't want to say concerned or upset, but I mean, if you take it the wrong way in some of his comments, I think it's very interesting, I guess, in terms of what it means for the rest of his group and in that locker room. We'll do that in just a second, Prater. But fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. They got NIL deals with a number of football players. They added, Julian Bowie from the basketball team as well recently. So lithiafordboise.com. Support one of the biggest supporters of Boise State athletics. Check them out online, lithiafordboise.com, or check out their location right there on Fairview Road in Boise. Hey, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher. Check him out, BauscherRealEstate.com. I know everybody has 5 family members, friends, that are realtors in town, but we bought and sold our home using Matt and his team. Tremendous experience. Promise you'll get top value, top dollar. Bauscher Real Estate, online at BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. They got 13+ locations around the state of Idaho, surrounding states. You can check them out online at shopridleys.com. Find a location near you. Love that Kuna location, the McCall location, the Star location as well. Been there a number of times. And download that Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. If you're looking to get a new job, how about Transportation Compliance Service? Jump into the trucking industry, transcomservice.com. Transportation Compliance Service, helping folks all over the world get signed up. They're based right here in the Treasure Valley, online at transcomservice.com. Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. They sponsor our voice inbox. If you want to leave us a voicemail, any thoughts, good, bad, on the football team, whatever else you got, speakpipe.com/BNN is the website to leave us a voicemail. And again, Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. Re-roof, repair, estimate, inspection. They got you covered every step of the way. All your roofing needs online at mysignatureroofing.com. And a quick shout out to Circa Resort and Casino. I don't know if you saw this or not, by the way, Prater. They were having the tsunami warning there in Honolulu last night. Yeah. And who's tweeting about it with a live report from his hotel room? Derek Stevens was on a vacation in Hawaii and just happened to be right there in Waikiki Beach, giving the updates throughout the tsunami warning coming in yesterday. So hope Derek and his wife Nicole and everybody are safe over there in Hawaii. But he's getting a last bit of sun and relaxation here, Mike, because they're getting ready for go time with football season coming up at Circa Resort and Casino. $21 million in guaranteed prizes. This is year 4 of us doing this contest with them. Maybe year 4 is finally the year we convince Mike Prater and Johnny Maldry to jump on board with us here. But the Millions contest, you pick 5 games against the spread. That's $6 million guaranteed. The traditional Survivor contest, $15 million guaranteed to the winner. And we're heading down to contest weekend, only about 3 weeks away. Brad Bedell's going down. I can't wait to see him fighting guys when he splits face cards again. It's going to be a lot of fun. August 21st to 23rd. We've got a crew going down. If you want to join us, you get half off your hotel rooms. You get free open bar events with Derek and crew. There's a happy hour. There's a pool party. All kinds of really cool stuff. If you've ever wanted to go to Circa, that is week 0 of the football season as well, so you can watch some games that weekend. If you're unable to go, you can reach out and we can help sign you up while we're down there. In a couple weeks, we'll be doing shows and things down there. It's a really fun weekend. So Circa Resort and Casino, join us for their ultimate contest weekend. We can sign you up. And I do want to remind folks, it is 100% legal to play in Idaho if you sign up down there in Vegas. All you have to do is go to Nevada to sign up. And then you can use our proxy, Tom Carroll, to make the picks. And it is 100% legal. Folks always ask me that. Oh, it's kind of shady. No. It's 100% legal if you use a proxy to make the picks for you, and we're going to be doing that to ourselves. Travis Hawks and I are teaming up for another entry. We got some other folks doing it. I know Riddle and Bedell are getting an entry, so excited for this. Looking forward to it. Even have a player's dad on the team doing it. Reached out to me wanting to sign up for this. So join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. You get some cool swag. I mentioned cheap discounts on hotels and things like that. So join us for the ultimate contest weekend. And if you can't make it, we can sign you up down there. And looking forward to getting back to Circa here in a couple weeks. Braxton Fely, he left. He visited Cal. He visited Miami. He decided to come back. I'm going to play the quote here in a second, Mike, about the reason he left and the lack of depth or talent that was coming back. That was a big reason. I asked the first question. You followed up with the second one. But just in general, Braxton Fely back on this team and that 12-minute interview. Before we play the clip here, just your thoughts.
Blew me away. I had never heard an answer like that before in 40 years of this business, BJ, and 34 years or 32 years of covering Boise State. I'd never heard that answer before. Did not expect that. We spent a lot of time on Idaho Sports Talk, and we spent a lot of time on BNN Live talking about Braxton Fely when he left this football team in the spring, speculating why. Was he going to go back to BYU or not back to BYU? Was he going to go back to Utah and with his wife and maybe go to BYU? And we saw the Cal and we saw the Miami road visits that he took, and so much speculation. I did not anticipate that answer yesterday. What a talking point from Braxton Fely.
All right, Braxton Fely, I asked the first question. You had the follow-up. I started right with his first bite here, but the question was essentially, why'd you leave? What was it about Boise State or the money, or what was it just when you decided to enter the portal? Braxton Fely, why did you initially decide to leave Boise State?
For me, it was just, based off last year. As you guys know, in our room, we had well over 1,000 snaps combined with the four of us. And me being the only one returning with a young group of guys was something that kind of hit my mind. But other than that, there was nothing to do with money or coaches reaching out. It was all just based off what I wanted to do. And I think that's important for people to know because things get twisted in ways. But yeah, it is what it is, and I'm excited to be back.
So what you wanted to do was like a fresh break or some place clean or go somewhere to be more with a veteran group of guys, or?
No, I think for me it was just, like I said before, 1,000 snaps is a lot, and it's hard to replace that with, kids that haven't played really at all. So for me it was just, in a way you could say that, but now that I'm back, I can see that this group that we have is going to be great. Even if they haven't played at all. So I'm excited. We've grown a lot, but I'm excited to see where we go.
Back with a group of kids that haven't really played at all.
Wow.
I don't totally buy Mike Prater. Like I'm sure part of the allure was the money. I'm sure there were people telling him what he could get. Like he's trying, but if he's trying to save face, that wasn't necessarily the answer. That was like gonna, make things smoothed over in the locker room. So I'm very curious to talk to one of those younger defensive linemen at some point. But I don't think he meant it like maybe he did, I guess. But I don't, I don't know if it was misconstrued or if he didn't phrase it the way he wanted to. But basically to say that, the guys that were, leaving didn't think we're going to be, or the guys staying around, he didn't think they were going to be any good, and he wanted to find a better defensive line is what it kind of came out as. Now I know, Michael Callahan, who does stuff here at BNN, a lot of these guys, his friends, his multi-year teammates all graduated, Herbert Gums, Sheldon Newton. It was kind of like, hey, all my buddies are leaving. My class is leaving. Maybe I'll find a better spot. And maybe that's more what he meant than just, these younger guys are garbage. But they did bring in some guys in the transfer portal, but overall that wasn't the answer we were expecting.
Yeah, and you can sugarcoat it all you want, but I think he meant exactly what he said. These guys aren't good enough for me to play with. That's what it really came down to, and he sugarcoated it and said it a little bit more diplomatically than that, but he basically looked at his defensive line room and said, I don't want to play with these guys. They're young, they're inexperienced, and I'm a veteran leader who is used to playing with veteran football players. So if he would have stood up yesterday and said, guys, let's be honest, I was just I'm married, I love my wife. I'm dedicated to my wife. He went off and talked about his wife later on in that interview about how important she is. We're just trying to better ourselves. And I got an opportunity, a job interview, a job offer, which he referred to this yesterday as a job offer, a job interview, a job opportunity. And so he went out there and exploring, and he was looking to change jobs. And maybe it wasn't as great. Maybe the money was a small part of the factor, but he started looking because he wasn't comfortable in the Boise State defensive line room because he didn't think the players that were surrounding him were good enough for him to play with. And for him to come out and say that, I was blown away by that. And I know that there's been some reaction on social media. Some people are saying, are you kidding me? He can't overcome this. I would love to talk to some of these younger players, especially with some truth serum, and find out exactly what they said about Braxton. That wouldn't make me feel very good. There's been a lot of conversation about rebuilding trust, a lot of anecdotal storylines about him talking to the players and trying to rebuild this trust. And I think he's doing it. I think he's a smart kid, a very smooth kid, and I think he's going to be just fine. But man, that was just shocking to hear yesterday. I've never heard anybody say that the guys around me weren't good enough, so I'm going to leave and take my talents elsewhere. Shocking comment, if you ask me.
And a lot of folks in the YouTube chat here not happy with the comment. Double O'Neill saying that guy would have to run at least 10 miles a day before practice to make my team. Ashley Jones saying you'd think he'd have more respect for Spencer and his team than that to give the weak answer and even give the thought, give the thought any entertainment in his head. It's Keaton saying, I don't think 24 tackles and 5 sacks gives you the right to act like that. We got to, that was a bleepy thing to say, horrible leadership skills. He came off as a weirdo, red flags everywhere. Mike says media team should have coached him up with a better answer. I mean, are you expecting any kind of fallback from this, pushback from this with his teammates, anything else? Is this something he's going to have to come out and apologize for or rephrase? Or, I mean, is this just kind of a college kid made a dumb comment and you move on? Or is this something that his teammates are going to hear about and there could be some issues? Or
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a dumb comment, and I don't think the media team should have coached him. I mean, I think this is a kid who was being honest. Why can't we celebrate honesty and refreshing answers, whether we liked it or not? We don't have to like every answer that comes out of these guys' mouth. I want honesty. And if it makes me cringe a little bit, and if it makes me wonder about what 5 or 6 or 7 other dudes are thinking on the football team, yeah, there's some consequences to something you have to say. But I think let's not criticize the kid. You can criticize for what he said, but not the way he said it, because I just love the honesty. And yeah, it's a good soundbite for the media. So we're a little bit self-interested here in that kind of stuff. And we got some play out of it. We're getting some play out of it now. For the football team itself, I think this is old headlines. I mean, this happened in May, June, July, all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Those guys are moving on. Does that mean some of these young players don't still feel the hurt, or walked out there on Monday and said, I'm going to show that guy, or I'm going to be better than that guy, or that guy thinks I'm not good enough to play? Wait till you see this. Maybe that's a motivating factor in a weird kind of way. But I think Braxton Fely was honest. I don't think we should beat him up for that. We can question his answer and his motives and why he did it, but I think at the end of the day, he's going to come out and be just fine. I think he's one of those kids that is going to be just fine with his teammates, with the media, and certainly with the fan base.
And we should say, like we mentioned, Chris Marshall being brought out day 2. I thought Braxton Fely being brought out day 2 also is noteworthy, I guess. And he did speak to the team. He said he talked to the team, and he never said he apologized. Never heard that word come out, and he never has, at least used that phrase or word. But he at least explained why he left, and said he hoped everybody would, I guess, essentially forgive him, but or allow him back into their family. And yeah, he packed up his locker and walked out, Mike Prater, and then eventually came back in. A very weird situation, but unfortunately, it may not happen around here. It sounds like Spencer's not going to go for that, but I mean, the new era of college athletics, a lot of schools are going to be happy to bring him back, and it's going to happen more often than you think, because a lot of people say, oh, well, you go in the transfer portal and, oh, you can find Andrew Simpson in the portal. Yeah, we'll take Andrew Simpson back here. I mean, it's going to happen other places, but it is very unique. What he said was unique. The full interview is up on the BNN YouTube channel if you want to go watch that 12 minutes. And we should throw in, though, Mike, I mean, it's not just the young guys. Sure, some of the young guys are going to get some playing time, but they did go out and get a David Latu and a Deion Washington and, Malachi Williams. But I mean, they brought in 3, 4, 5 transfers, a JUCO guy on the D line. So it's not just Braxton Fely and these young guys. They brought in some transfers during that time as well. And that is still a position we're going to be watching. But yeah. He said he's motivated now he also said he was motivated too to play for his teammates for welcoming him back, and we'll see if he has a big year this year.
I think he's the kind of guy that can use that motivation, and he wants 10 sacks after 5.5 last year, which that's a massive number for an interior defensive lineman. I'm not sure Scott Matlock ever even got 10 sacks, double-digit sacks. And we know what kind of a bull rusher that dude was. So we'll see how it plays out. The one thing that had me a little bit curious is it's not like the defensive line was that bare. Obviously, he had Jaden Virgin Morgan, very experienced. Max Steege, decently experienced there. Michael Madre, somewhat experienced and getting a lot of love from the coaching staff over the last year and a half. So it's not like the cupboard was completely bare. So it was weird. It was weird for him to say that, because I don't think it was that extreme for him to say that. But that's how he said it. That's what he felt, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences. I think he'll be just fine.
Ashley Jones says, I would have rather heard it was for the money than my room sucks, and I'm not confident in them. BSU Bill saying young guys can use it as fuel. If they stink it up this year, then Fely's comments will be validated. Yeah, we'll see. But that certainly was, glad he talked, and not really the answer we were expecting. But again, all of our interviews, all 4 captains spoke on Monday. Those are all up on the BNN YouTube channel as well. Prater, no practice today. I'm going to keep this going for a few minutes. People are asking some other questions. I don't want to waste your time. I know you got to go, but what do we have coming up? Idaho Sports Talk today.
We're going to rehash a little bit of Boise State football. We're going to take a little bit of a break and talk about some other things too. I know there's a big-time soccer star coming to Boise in terms of ownership. And we'll talk about Casey Keller, one of the great American goalies. He's going to join our show today. But a lot of Boise State breakdown, getting ready for fall camp tomorrow and Friday, and some interviews with some coordinators. Looking forward to that. So business as usual here at Idaho Sports Talk. We're chasing down some NFL stuff, watching Ashton Genty. We're going to Seattle for a training camp update with DeMarcus Lawrence and George Shalani. So it's a cool time of year. Again, it's just so weird. I woke up this morning. It's still July. And we're diving in. You have to remind yourself that it's still July, and I cannot wait until the calendar turns to August 1st on Friday. That'll make me feel a hell of a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And obviously they with the Thursday game, and obviously it's going to be a couple of days earlier starting practice for Boise State, but even week 1 being in August, even on the Saturday, I believe, or that weird weekend, it's just pushing it earlier and earlier. And with that week 0 games, I mean, I already saw teams like my Jayhawks who play that week 0, they're already, in full pads and on like practice 7 or whatever. So, I mean, they've been going for over a week already. So yeah, it's crazy, but Prater, you guys do a great job there. I know you have another column coming here in the near future at BNN as well. You're going to be doing regular weekly columns here during fall camp in the season. So, and jumping on those message boards and things, it's we've had really good traffic the last couple of days. A lot of people excited for camp. And I know you've been around the message boards and posting some comments and things as well. So we'll be listening 3 to 6 today. You, Prater, Bob, the whole crew there at KTIK. We appreciate it. We'll see you back on the practice field tomorrow morning, sir.
Looking forward to it. Good job, BJ. Great first 2 days. Love the BNN vibe. Love what you've put together. Love hanging out with Chris and Nathan and the whole crew. And it's really cool to walk out to practice and not only be a part of Idaho Sports Talk with Johnny, but what you and everybody's created at Bronco Nation News. And, between the two organizations, we're about 80% of the media that's out there right now. And it's a great team effort. And really appreciate it. Love the other media guys here in town. But if you stick with Idaho Sports Talk, if you stick with BNN and everything that we're doing on both sites here, man, we got you covered with a lot of great dudes and a lot of great talent. And this is one of my favorite teams in terms of media that has been put together this year. I'm really excited for this year and the coverage so far. Spectacular.
Appreciate it, Prater. We'll be listening 3 o'clock and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you, bud.
There he is, Mike Prater. Appreciate him for jumping on. And, Steve says, thank you for the great coverage this year, guys. It's been fun so far. They still have the 60% sale going over at 247 Sports. So if you're liking what you're hearing right now from myself and Prater and you want to support us financially with your efforts, we're putting daily articles up. I think we've had 10 articles the last couple of days. We're putting some of them behind the paywall. Some of them are, free as well. We're not trying to block everybody out, but a couple of our observation articles, our players that have stood out to us, some of our inside info from being at practice are going up behind the paywall. So we're about a month in with 247 Sports. It's going great. We're loving it. And they've still got the 60% off fall camp special going for us. A lot of the other sites are only 50% off right now for fall camp. They gave us an extra 10% bonus since we're new. Not going to last very long, but we're talking $4 a month. We're talking $48 for a full year. So a one-time fee, $48, and you get access to all the message boards, the VIP message boards. We're dropping some nuggets in there about Boise State basketball schedule to our VIP subscribers. Some games getting announced soon. We're dropping some other recruiting info in there. So the VIP board is the place to go for the inside info. And as I said, many of our stories are behind the paywall. The Sanford and Johnny Ball Talk show is going to be behind the paywall this year. So right now is the perfect time if you're ever on the fence about joining 247 Sports. If you want daily coverage from 3-4 guys giving their thoughts from practice, interviews, stories, all kinds of stuff. Again, nothing against any of the other media members. We're just confident that if you give us, your subscription dollars and you give us a shot, that we're very confident that you're going to be happy and pleased with the coverage you're getting back in return. And right now we have the 2 offers going on. You can try us for $1 for the first month. If you like us, stick on board for the full monthly price there. That does come with the Paramount Plus subscription. The Paramount Plus subscription is included in the full price deal. So if you want to do the $1 for the first month, and then I think it's $12.99 a month after that, that does include Paramount Plus, or $48 for the one-time fee. That's $4 a month. That gives you a full year of coverage. That does not include the Paramount Plus because it's on a discounted rate, but when it renews at the full price next year, that would include the Paramount Plus at that point. But that's what I would recommend doing. One time, $48, get it over with. You have your coverage for the whole year, fall camp, all season, basketball season, and then you can decide if you want to keep it on next year or not when it's time to renew. But we're pretty confident you'll want to stick around next year because we're very confident in the coverage we've been putting out so far, and we appreciate all you guys that have jumped on. We've had tremendous interest so far, and we're hoping that if you're on the fence about it, the extra recruiting benefits you get from 247, the extra message boards, traffic and things that you get. It's been an awesome first month. And in particular, it's been a awesome first couple of days of fall camp. So jump on board if you can, BroncoNationNews.com. Today's the perfect day to subscribe and read all of our insider content, and we'll be continuing to make it more and more valuable and put more and more stuff behind the paywall to help out our paying subscribers and make it benefit to subscribe. And if you're on the fence, as I said, this is the best offer you're going to get, probably ever, the 60% off right now. It's $48 for the full year. You can just sign up, BroncoNationNews.com. Click the little button up there in the corner that says join now, and you can get set up in a matter of seconds. That's at BroncoNationNews.com. BSU Bill asking the agenda for today. No practice today, but they do have walkthroughs. They have meetings. They have weightlifting sessions. They'll still be at the facility most of the day. So it's not necessarily an off day. It's not an off day at all, to be honest with you. But no interviews and no practice today. So one of the rules the NCAA put in a couple years ago is they let you add a couple extra days for off days. So you still get the same number of practices, but they added a couple extra days to fall camp to allow for some more off days to kind of help bring guys along slower and avoid injuries and things like that. The acclimation period, I think they call it. The first 2 days, you're just in helmets, and essentially that's it. They have these spiders they've now come out with, but they're not really pads. They're just kind of a vest type thing that you kind of weigh. Not a weighted vest, but it's kind of a padded vest, but it's not really a pads. And so they're called spiders. That's the first 2 days, all you wear. The next 2 days, you're allowed to go into what's called shells, which is shoulder pads. So you'll have shoulder pads out there. Some guys will still be wearing pants tomorrow, but they won't have any pads or anything in them. It'll just be shells and helmets tomorrow, shoulder pads and helmets. And then practice 5 is when you can go to the full pads. And so that'll be the first practice they do that. So no practice today. Won't be any fresh interviews today. We do have a recruiting article that Chris Van Sickle talked to one of the Boise State commits, and we'll be throwing that up this afternoon. So you get a fresh article today, even on the off day. But all of our the full Braxton Fely interview, I wrote a couple hundred words on that. I wrote a couple hundred words on Chris Marshall. Both those stories are up on the site. Our observations, our players to watch, our tidbits. I had a little interesting note in there about the goalpost. The goalpost from the north end zone from the Potato Bowl has been installed on the practice field now. So that is going to be there the rest of the, for eternity there on the practice fields. Why are the coaches open about Sire but not Breezy? I will say, first of all, the main issue for that is they're not going to get into a habit of telling us about injuries. That's basically not their style. We're not allowed to report on injuries. We're not allowed to report on guys missing practice. If he misses a day or two, it is what it is. They do not comment on it. In the situation of Sire Gaines, it was the very first practice. He was a guy that's had a lot of attention on him all year. And Spencer Danielson had just said like 3 days earlier that he was 100% ready to go for practice on whatever the first day was, Monday. So he was ready to go. And then after Spencer Danielson's press conference in a weight room or something over the weekend or that day after the press conference, sometime between the press conference and Sunday night or Monday morning when it was time to practice, he tweaked something minor, soft tissue injury, and he's going to miss a couple days. But because they didn't want Spencer Danielson to look like a liar because he wasn't lying, something new popped up. And because they know there's so much interest on Sire Gaines and that everybody was going to see that he wasn't out there after he missed all spring and a good chunk of last season, the sports information staff, smartly and rightfully allowed the media to say that and told us that and said we could report that it was a minor injury and he'd be back in a couple of days, ideally. And so they're not going to do that every day. Breezy was out there, as I said, the first day, wasn't out there the second day, but they don't give injury reports and things like that. Don't even know if he's injured. I mean, you could put 2 and 2 together, but he was at practice. He just was not participating in practice on day 2. We'll just say that. So, I just think that's something where it wasn't anything specific to Breezy or Sire. It was just first day, unique circumstances with Sire, and they wanted to get out there so Bronco Nation wouldn't necessarily freak out that, okay, he's out again. What's going on? It's unrelated. He'll be back in a couple of days, is what they're expecting. Greg Ard, I was impressed with him. He's had a couple nice runs. I think number 34, right? He's been pretty impressive at times with what he's doing out there as a true freshman. So, I think that he's a guy that whether it's this year or in the near future, they really like him. I've really liked Dylan Riley. I think Dylan Riley's had a really nice 2 days getting the extra opportunities here. He scored on a nice touchdown down the sideline. I think Dylan Riley is a guy that probably isn't getting as much talk as he should. He stuck around A lot of people thought, he's going to be the third or fourth option. Why didn't he transfer? He stuck around, and I think he's going to certainly get some opportunities here in the backfield, especially with guys maybe being out or limited or, whatever else. So, I'm excited for this running game and this offensive line. I think the offense is in a good place. Somebody asked about talking to some of the coaches. The plan is tomorrow we're going to get some players, and I believe Malik Sherrod may be one of those players we get to chat with tomorrow. And then on Friday, we're going to talk to the coordinators. So I think we get Stacy Collins, we get Eric Chenander, and we get Nate Potter on Friday. So we'll get the three coordinators on Friday, and I think they'll mix in some of the assistant coaches like Zach Hill the following week. But the plan is to get a couple of players tomorrow and then get the coordinators on Friday after the fourth practice of camp on Friday. So we'll have interviews, practice highlights tomorrow, interviews, practice highlights on Friday. And then I think they take the week. There's no media availability over the weekend. They kick it back up on Monday morning. So plenty of stuff to come here at Bronco Nation News, bronconationnews.com. And again, hope you subscribe, bronconationnews.com. If there was ever a time to jump on board, maybe you just, have never been someone that's ever subscribed for your Boise State news. It's just not something you fundamentally want to do, to have to pay for your coverage. I get it. I understand it, but times are changing, and nobody, you don't work for free, so it's hard to expect others to do it as well. And you may be able to find some information and news out there for free, and there's tricks about clearing your cache and all that to get some of the stories elsewhere to show up for free. But if you're able to help us out and support us, we'd really appreciate it. And I think the tidbits and the nuggets we're going to be throwing in the VIP message board is going to make it worth it. The recruiting coverage you're going to get is going to be worth it. I mean, in the last month, Chris Van Sickle has written feature stories on about half of Boise State's recruits. You haven't seen that anywhere else. And you throw in Nathan and his analytical stuff that he's going to provide. You throw in Prater's columns. I mean, I really do think we're building a heck of a team here. And, the more subscribers we get, the more people I can keep adding to the team. I'm talking about Michael Callahan about getting more involved. I'm talking to Winston Venable about getting more involved again. And I got to be able to pay these guys. So help us out, subscribe if you can. And we're really excited and happy with what we're building at BNN. Been a fun couple of days so far, and really looking forward to the future here with Bronco Nation News. So 60% off, $48 for that one-time deal. Just go sign up right now at bronconationnews.com. And I will be in the message board answering questions, chatting with folks after the show. And as I said, we'll be posting another fresh article here shortly as well, talking to one of the commits in the 2026 class. And then 9 a.m. tomorrow, we'll be live outside the stadium with our show, and then we'll be at practice, and we'll do it all again tomorrow with our thoughts, our key players that stood out, some observations, and get you all the interviews and things tomorrow, including, I believe, Malik Sherrod is on the list for tomorrow. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Again, if you want in the Circa Sports contest, we can get you signed up. Let me know. I can sign you up myself if you can't make it down to Vegas. If you are able to, come in for a half a fee, it is $1,000 entry fee, but we've had a couple guys link up that are going to split an entry together. If you want to do that, or you can say, hey, I'll throw in $300 and take 30% if somebody else wants to jump in, or half and half with somebody, let me know. Reach out, email me, Rains@bronconationnews.com. But I can tell you from experience, you have so much fun on a Saturday watching your favorite team, watching Boise State, whatever, and then you wake up on Sunday and to know, even if it's a small chance, to know you have skin in the game for $21 million down at Circa. It makes watching NFL Sunday a lot of fun. So reach out to me if you're interested. Would love to have you join us for the contest weekend in a couple weeks for week 0. But if you can't make it that weekend, again, we can sign you up into the contest as well while we're down there. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. And again, I'll see you in the message boards. I'll see you at bronconationnews.com, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Bronco Nation News Live will be outside the stadium. John Mallory and I will give you our thoughts from the first couple of days. We'll preview practice 3. We'll take your questions, your comments. Looking forward to tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. back on Bronco Nation News Live. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Go subscribe if you can. Help us out, bronconationnews.com. We promise, no pun intended, 24/7 to work to earn your subscription and earn your praise, I guess, and your satisfaction. Make that subscription worth it to you. I'm confident we will. We're the only outlet that's traveling to every football and basketball game this year. That Maui Invitational bracket came out yesterday. Boise State will play USC in the first game, and Bronco Nation News will have live pregame and postgame shows from the Lahaina Civic Center covering the biggest preseason tournament in the history of Boise State basketball, the Maui Invitational. So we're going to be there every step of the way, and then we'll hurry back from Maui and get to Logan in time for the football game again on Friday against Utah State. So we'll be everywhere. We'll be pregame, postgame, on the road, South Florida, South Bend, everywhere, and you're not going to get this kind of coverage anywhere else. So hopefully you'll jump on board, subscribe, and we appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you on the message boards. We'll see you at BroncoNationNews.com, and we'll see you at 9 a.m. on Thursday morning as we get set for practice 3 for the Boise State football team. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News Live. And, yep, I'll see you over at BroncoNationNews.com.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with a room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.